So then they announced the rules for the Continental Classic, which each match has a 20-minute time limit. A winner gets 3 points. A draw is 1 point. A loser obviously gets no points. Seconds are barred from ringside. Nobody's allowed to be ringside, so there'll be no interference. Unlike our normal matches where we've just proven we could easily stop this, but we don't.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah.
And I promise you, nobody will be keeping score at home except for the nerds that have watched the New Japan round robin tournaments or whatever. And most people watching television will be going, what the now they want us to do math? What the fuck?
Round robin's my favorite Joshi.
Well, yeah, and her big aunt Square Robin, she got heavy and used the big bonsai drop. And the first tournament match was Swerve Strickland versus Jay Lethal. And I love Jay Lethal. I've talked about him so many times. If they'd have pushed Lethal from the start when he first came in like they pushed Jay White, they might have something. He's a better worker, he's a better promo, and he has more experience. But he's a fucking heel. And they're putting him against Swerve, who is such a dastardly heel that invades the cribs of children that the people cheered him against their goddamn cowboy babyface former world champion. And so I don't want to see Swerve again at all against anybody after the garbage match last week. And I know that Lethal is not going to win. That's my personal opinion. But for the viewer at home, it's two heels, but one is Lethal has more heel heat because he's in Jeff Jarrett's group that they don't like for real. And he's used as an underneath guy that loses most of the time. So they're naturally going to boo him against a cool heel that they've been cheering with the, whether he has his manager dancing or not, that they know is going to win because he's pushed as a main event guy. So how does it help either one when your main event heel is getting more and more cheers and you're leading them to do that by giving him this opponent, and Jay Lethal, poor fella, is just going to do another fucking job? Did you hear Sockface trying to explain the tournament, and he couldn't grasp the phrase single elimination tournament to differentiate it from this round robin tournament? So he was like, is it not like a just lose and leave once thing or something like that?
And they just let him hang in the wind. There was nothing he could do.
Well, I don't know whether they can come up with it at that point or not. He butchered it so bad, he probably scared it out of them. But anyway, so Swerve beat Jay Lethal with a double stomp off the top rope and got big cheers for it. And I swear to God, when it looks like it can't get any more amateurish, Renee Moxley Good, did you see the backstage with Hook and Pockets and the Japanese fellow that was just standing there, and his name was never mentioned until Wheeler Useless came in to knock all of them with one of his whiny memorized monologues. And it was Shibata, the guy with the brain replacement. And who do we know?
It wasn't replaced. It's the same brain. It's his brain that, as reported in the Wrestling Observer, was removed from his head and placed back in. He did not get a second brain.
Okay, but it was, do we know for sure who the doctor was that did this? Because could you put it in backwards?
I believe it was Dr. Bombay.
Well, do you think he might have put it in backwards and that's why he's wired up crooked?
That's why he's tagging up with Orange Cassidy and Hook?
Yes. But nevertheless.
Well, Jim, if I could just jump in to go back to the match.
Well, yeah.
That's the problem. That match is the problem with AEW right there. I can't judge Jay Lethal based on what he can do. I can only judge him based on how he's been used. Why would anyone think he's going to win? So now you're going to have a long competitive match with one of the top stars in the company who's booked as a heel, and the fans accept him like a babyface, which is what they wanted. Although it's just backwards. and done it in such a fucking backwards way. But you know he's going to win, and it took him 20 minutes. It was a 20-minute match.
It was long.
It took him 20 minutes to beat Jay Lethal, who never wins, who never beats anybody. That's the difference between like a match. That's working for star ratings and working for match quality versus working to make sense.
For business.
And it's, again, nothing against Jay Lethal. I know what you think of him. Like I said, I can't judge him based on what he could do or what he did for you. Based on how he's been used in AEW, this should have been a 20-minute match?
No.
You brought up the backstage interview. I mentioned also when you said, let's go from the ridiculous to whatever you said. Renee is now wearing like, I don't know, like a bra and a blazer.
I know what I thought she was doing the thing from the woman on Seinfeld.
the O. Henry candy bar heiress?
Yes, she wore the
Sue Ellen Mishke.
Sue Ellen Mishke.
Maybe that's what she's doing. But what's happening on this show?
It's from the Sue Ellen Mishke collection. Well, that's the point is all of the matches, and you know, I've said it in a variety of ways. You succinctly said it there. They're not working for the match they should have for the business goals they want to have. They're working for every match to be goddamn a classic, quotation marks. And as I told guys in training camps and tryout seminars and etc. 15 years ago, every match doesn't have to be the main event of Starrcade 86. It's when you're auditioning for something or when you're performing your job. It's better to have the match that's called for by business rather than that you want to have and that your Mark Booker will allow you to have just because you can have it. There's a reason why that the fucking extras that get a line, boy, these pretzels are making me thirsty. They're not on screen for 15 minutes going toe-to-toe with goddamn Bruce Willis in Die Hard.
But you know, also the other thing, look at the first 20 minutes, 25 minutes of Raw SmackDown. SmackDown this past week had a lot of women's stuff. Women who are stars in their company. You know, Bianca, Charlotte, Becky, those are three of the biggest stars in all of women's wrestling. Raw, usually you have Judgment Day, maybe Cody, maybe Jey Uso, maybe Sammy. God forbid Rollins. Here you had Swerve, who is certainly, I think, one of their top guys. Other than that, Jay Lethal, Orange Cassidy, Hook, who, whatever potential there is, it's still just that. There's been no progress in like 3 years with Hook. And Shibata, the man with no brain, who, if you don't read The Observer, or the man with his own brain, excuse me.
He has a brain. He got it back.
That's right.
He had to surrender it for a few minutes, but he got it back.
If you don't read The Observer or don't watch New Japan, and I see what their numbers are on Axis, not many people are watching New Japan in the States. You have no idea who he is. So you have one show or one promotion giving you stars right at the top. If you're someone giving this company a chance and just tuning in, there's been a lot of buzz, good or bad. You want to check them out, see what it is. Look at what it is. There's no star power. It's childish booking, childish skits. Everyone's just working to please themselves. They forgot about how to please the fans.